I started thinking about what my post at Patreon. I post often, so now I became a patron of five other Patreon people on Patreon, other artists. I'm thinking of more, but I follow these. But it depends on how much. If I can afford $1 to become a patron to something, to someone, that's cool. So right now it's Germ Sterling, Sam Harris, Amanda Palmer, SciShow because I really love their videos, and Star Talk Radio because Neil deGrasse Tyson. Um, most of these are just $1 just to test what it is like to be a patron because I'm posting a lot, and I don't know if all those emails go out saying Nazir has posted a new topic or new post. I've like so after I became a patron of these folks, I started getting those emails saying, Jim Sterling has posted a new post, or Amanda Palmer has posted a new post, SciShow has posted a new video or something. So yeah, I was wondering, if I'm gonna use my Patreon as a blog because all I have to do is press this button right here and I post what I'm thinking and I'm sharing it, as a blog. But do I really want it to go out to my six patrons? Do I want it to always go out? So I was just thinking, it's like last post I did was the I am a verified slave to patience, wishing to be free. This was a video that I did yesterday. After I did that video, when I was talking about passing out and all that kind of stuff, the passing out thing has been an issue with me. And last night it happened again. It's like it usually happens when I didn't pay enough attention to how much I'm eating, or perhaps I don't know. But it was rough, you know, just passing out and still having that kind of issue. And I have to figure out what it is. But just looking at things that I'm doing and thinking about this year, I was researching how long I've been online and how long I've been doing this for. You know, I have videos on YouTube. When I search, you can see it says 8 years ago. I mean, if you just search the name, you can see what I've posted. It's just, sometimes I have posts on here that could be embarrassing or humiliating, but that was the moment, that was what I wanted to share with the world at the time. And this video right here from 8 years ago was self portrait. I I've turned off the sounds on the videos so just to see what I was sharing. It's just like I just set up my laptop and I'm in the bathroom and I have a lot of paint and I'm just posting and talking honestly about how I feel as a painter, how I feel about life, you know, what my dreams are and what my feelings are. It's a self portrait, but it's a video, you know. I didn't have canvases. Most what happened to my work sometimes is that I finish a work on a canvas and for a few years it sits in the studio space that I have here. And then suddenly I get inspired by something and I totally paint over the painting that I have here. because I just want to use the canvas and I paint over it. That's the thing, you know? It's like looking at yourself, looking at the years that you spent, and how much you try to reach out, how much you try to express who you are as a person, as a creative person, you know? I did this all throwing one day, and I just kept switching these shirts because these were the search these these church shirts from Men's Warehouse. They go under my suit because I fought my girlfriend at the time, my fiance at the time. We went to church together, and she just wanted me to wear these suits, and she purchased these suits. And it's like these at church, Pentecostal church, you're supposed to wear this suit, and the best look is white shirt and black suit and tie. Me being the person I am, I just told her, I want to wear colored shirts. I wanted to wear color. It's like, so she purchased all these really nice shirts for me. And it's like I'm going through a whole lot of trouble because I'm like this creative person, this artist, and I'm at this church, and I felt so conflicted because this is a person who is working very hard at work, and she puts a lot of money towards the church and puts a lot of her time towards the church. It's like we're trying to build together, and we're trying to become a person, to become a couple, to have a future together. And I have this long outstanding dream of being a painter, you know. And at the time, her family was giving us trouble because I have sickle cell, and they were saying, he's gonna die on you, he's not gonna survive. And that was 8 years ago that that was when we broke up, and she left, and she saw these videos, and she came back and saying, "Are you okay?" And we got back together, but for a short time after she saw these videos. But the thing is, it's like that's the way I wanted to communicate my pain, my suffering, and what I was thinking at the time. So all these videos, it's a history of my art, a history of my foolishness, history of me just being nuts and crazy, or history of my pain. It's a human being, you know. Y- You look at it, and you saying, what is this person about? You know, why is he painting his face with acrylic paint? you know. So I'm not even sure about the toxicity of the paints that I'm using, but most of them are mild. They're okay, so they should be all right. It's just that it takes a long time to wash off from my hair and everything. But I just felt this that day. That's how I wanted to express myself. And that's how Mr. Nobody got started after a while, because I didn't want to paint my face anymore. I just wanted to use a box and just put it over my head and just go out there, you know. But to talk honestly about how you're feeling during the moment, you know, has always been part of me. To express honestly how you feel as a painter, as an artist, as a creative person, when you don't have the ability to do what you want to do. So all these shirts, man, I really love all these suits and all these shirts, but they were to go to church, to something that I struggled with, because I had this rational mind, this creative mind, who really doubted a lot of things. I had too many doubts, you know. People speaking in tongues and dancing around me, and I'm like, how can I lie to myself like that? I can't. So here's a perfectly good woman who has a family, who struggled, who put herself through school. Everybody was fighting just to make it through medical school. She became a respiratory therapist, making some really good money at Yale New Haven Hospital. But most of her money goes to this church and to help this church and to help people take trips to Africa and to, to 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 spread this religion, because some white folks came to Haiti and preached to her dad, and her dad became a minister of the same church in Haiti, and he died, you know, doing some church work because in a car accident, just like my mom died in a car accident doing some church work. So you can't tell this woman to stop believing in a church for her when her own dad was a pastor who died doing the work of the church, you know? And it's sad that I am alone and I'm feeling all these things about this, how I'm thinking. I wish a person in my life would believe in me, believe in my art, believe that I could make it, instead of buying me these shirts for $50 a pop and the $600 suits at Men's Warehouse. A person who loved me, a person who cared about me, would have purchased a whole bunch of canvas and paint for me at the same time. You know, I would be painting and I would be producing something I love, something that gives me an outlet in life and gives me a voice in life and says, this is me. This is me expressing who I am as a human being. And this is the God in me. You know, this is the blessing in me. Not a book, not a pastor at a pulpit, not a fellowship at something, but me celebrating life and celebrating love and celebrating my own humanity. You know, it gets to a place where I just think, how unfair things are when you feel like no matter who you are and what you do to get the attention of a person, you feel invisible. You feel absolutely invisible. And it makes no sense why you are invisible. You know, you get 2,000 views in a video that's been around for 8 years. You get some replies from friends who know you or from strangers who don't, and they listen to it for a while. And after a while, the video goes, it's not trending anymore, and nobody knows it's there. But that was 8 years ago. You know, it's a video that was there. It's a video people can still hit the share button and share. You know, so I think about all these things in my life and what I feel and how things went down. You know, it is Tuesday and it is March 1st, 2016. This was July 10th, 2007. And that's how the pictures ended. That's how the face ended. That's how the self-portrait ended. You know, that was my self-portrait at the time. Because when you go to art school and when I had art classes, self-portraits were a thing that you always did. But my self-portrait was painting my face and talking about what was in my mind at the time, in my heart at the time, what I was thinking at the time. How I felt a little betrayed by a woman who walked away from me because I had sickle cell disease and her family was pressuring her that I would die, you know, that I would not be anything in her life. When I had my art that she could, help me, believe in me, and support, you know, instead just dragging me to church with these nice fancy Sunday clothes and these shirts, and I don't have a canvas to paint on, you know. People wonder why I get angry and why I feel like I, you don't respect me as a human being, as a person, as a man, as a person with dreams, as a person worth listening to, as a person worth paying attention to. I have things to say. I love saying things. I love hearing other people's expressions of themselves and what they think. Not from a book, not from a holy book, but your true experience of who you are as a person. I want to share these things with people. I want to understand what it is to be who you are as a person and how you share yourself with the world. So I have videos and videos of failures, of failed attempts at reaching reaching people with my art, you know, reaching people with my art. And I used to just sit there and just, talk about it. I just came back from New York at this time and I talked about the PSA that we did for sickle cell, you know, for sickle cell awareness, you know, being one of the people in the video for the PSA. And I'm not the only one with sickle cell on YouTube speaking about it, but I share my art and I share a lot of things. I have different channels, some for sickle cell and video games, and some for my art. You can view a video of me for over an hour of just painting on a canvas. How I start, the composition. Sometimes I freestyle it and sometimes I put it together using references. This one was freestyle, you know, just just putting lines together. And most people will see how that one turned out. But for over an hour, and an hour and 18 minutes, you could watch me at least get one layer of this painting done. But it's at the end it's not finished. You know, near the end, this is as far as I get. It's not finished. But when you go to my Facebook page or my Twitter account, you can see that's one of my paintings that I'm most proud of. You can see the finished product. That I'm posing for a picture there. You know, I take a photo of it. You know, some of my old works are also spotlighted. You know, I paint over these things. I had this hibiscus flower that which I gave to the SCDA. I hope they kept it. And I have my paints. This canvas right here was a canvas I was proud of, but I covered it up with another painting. It's a whole completely new painting now. You know, this piece I had for a mural was huge, but it's only broken pieces I have left of it. So you can see it's like this painting right here, I covered up too. You know, some paintings don't work. I just over the years I covered them up. These these other paintings I gave away to different people who asked me for paintings for art auctions. There's a director who was art trying to put a documentary about Haiti together, and I gave him many pieces. He's in New York, and there's other paintings that you can see in my history on YouTube that I donated to like the Children's Hospital in Oakland, California for art auctions so that patients with sickle cell, the young kids with sickle cell, can go to sickle cell camp. And here's a picture of me in the Bronx when I lived in the Bronx. And this young man who took the picture with me, he has sickle cell and he passed away, from sickle cell disease. And I know his mother really close. So I kept these little pictures to remind me, sickle cell, you know, you have to fight for sickle cell. And that's how those are my memories. That's how I looked. That's how I dressed in New York. That's I wanted to grow my dreads in, but it never worked out because my face would break out because my face is very sensitive. My skin is very sensitive towards the oils and all these. And I showed pictures of my inspiration, Jean-Michel Basquiat, things that are in my mind, what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life. And I share my Nintendo Wii U, what I do with my day. All these, I just kept sharing and kept sharing and kept sharing these paintings. And these things I donated to, instead of selling them, I donated them to good causes, I hope. And I hope a child got to a camp because I gave those paintings. I hope they had some fun, that their life were touched. But it is these memories of expressing art and expressing things and the clash with the religion and the beliefs that I have, or that I try to have, and the science that I hold in my heart and I think about that could actually cure my disease and cure my illness. I'm supposed to set up a Patreon just for my art, just saying that I need help to create my artwork, and that would be it. But that wouldn't be the true me if I just said, I'm setting up my Patreon because I want help for my artwork. I want help people to help me create works of art. It wouldn't be just me. It wouldn't be the truth of who I am as an artist. Because part of it is this frustration, this desire to see certain suffering cured, this pain that I feel. Like the last night that I passed out, I felt so helpless. Like, could this be it? Could this be the time, the moment in my life where finally die and I pass on, and nobody knows, you know. Nobody remembers me. Nobody cares, you know. It's for me. It's like wasted talent to have this gift. Maybe you feel like people say it's a gift, or people say it's something. To have these, to create these images, to create these things, to be a creative person, to love these colors, and not to be able to do anything with it. I make this little title for myself, Haitian Super Flat, because I really liked this artist, this Japanese artist who came up with this term super flat, and because the perspective, there was no perspective in his work. It was all flat. It was layers of things, of culture, meshing culture together. And I saw this is exactly what I was doing with my work. I was meshing my own culture and I was making it flat. It's not that I didn't learn perspective in art classes. I had perspective, studies. I've had, the understanding for vanishing points, and I had some little training, some kind of formal training in art, a little bit. No degrees, but I had some training. But I just wanted to put things together like a collage, like a story, and it told what I was feeling about, tears of liberty, about liberty, you know, and the fight for it, and how you die for it. And this other painting right here is about, Haitians running away from persecution, or just suffering and poverty, and just trying to make it to Miami, Florida, and drowning. And this one is, it speaks for itself. It's let freedom ring, and being inspired by the civil rights, and how you get murdered for that voice, eh, you know. So these paintings with the rain series, and the lines, with the drips that that made up the raindrops, I painted over them. I painted over these canvases. They become something new. This work no longer exists, but under the layers of paint of another piece that I have here in the studio, which I could easily tomorrow paint over because I feel like there's a work I really need to get done. So that's why I started a Patreon this year. I'm like, I need to stop destroying my work. I need to stop destroying work from like 8 years ago and painting over them because they speak for a time that is forever lost because that's what I was expressing at the time. I don't know, maybe you don't think it's beautiful, but I do. I appreciate my own work because I have to love myself for what I create. I'm fortunate to have a huge space in Art Space Bridgeport, and the ceilings are like 13 foot tall, but I might want to move away from here and move closer to Yukon, to be closer to my medical care, to be closer to where I can get my phoresis done for sickle cell disease. You know, once a year, once a month, I have to go to Yukon, and the trip with the medical cab is a hassle. So I really, really have to think about leaving this space and moving closer. If I could pay rent, I would already have moved. But I live on disability and I can't pay rent more than I pay rent for here. The rent here, the space is still the same space you see in this video. It's only $320. And I need patrons reaching that number per month for me to pay it from my own pockets, from patrons who are donating to me instead of disability, social security, or welfare. I want to have the ability to survive on my own, to create work on my own, to be able to create work and have it stay without destroying it and without turning it into something else because I don't have another canvas to put new work on. You know, I really want to express myself in many different styles because this is a Van Gogh piece type of inspiration because Van Gogh was one of my favorite artists. I just really liked his story from art history because he never sold a painting really, you know. And all of these things are people who inspired me, things that went on during the time. I put the paper there because during the time, you know, even those Egyptian pieces, I recreated them. I broke them apart and redid them as sickle cell works. You know, I don't even know where my Nefertiti head is. Did I give it away? What happened to it? I don't know. It might be in a closet. This piece I broke down and I turned it into a sickle cell piece, and I gave it to my nurse Randy, who does my phoresis, because I wanted to thank him because for those many years that I've been doing phoresis, I've been doing much better. I've been doing well. And this is my life. This is like the journey that I am sharing, you know. I used to sit here and I watch a lot of anime. Like this video has this little anime start. I think I have a content ID that took away the sound of it or something, but you know, if you know anime, you probably know why I'm so inspired by Japanese works and art because I really love the art, you know, and I think it influenced my work a lot. So this is why I'm spending the time I'm spending sharing videos on life art and sickle cell, sharing these videos, sharing my voice, sharing what I'm doing because I'm not afraid of sharing. I'm not afraid of exposing a truth about myself. Do you know how dangerous it is to say you are an atheist and you were a Muslim? Do you know how dangerous it is in this world today to come out as an atheist, as a Muslim, to say that you no longer believe in Allah, and that you can no longer go to masjid, and you can no longer pray, and you can no longer do these things? It is because I like doing human figures. I like doing human beings in life. This painting is of little girls I used to remember as a child who used to carry buckets of water. When I went to Soto, Andeyo, it's called, when you go to the mountains in Haiti, Andeyo, there's no source of water but the river, the nearest source of water. So I call this painting the Haitian water carriers. I gave it to my doctor because I also take a long journey from Bridgeport to Farmington, Connecticut, just to be able to get to the source of water, to the source of a treatment for my sickle cell. Because that's what the painting represents to me, is the journey. It's the hardship of having to seek a life-giving water, life-giving treatment for something that ails you, or for just living. And that's what the painting meant to me. And that's why I gave it to Dr. Enda Merriam, because I believe in the work that she does at her center in Yukon, at Yukon. And that's why I go that far away. Because I have a mindset where I really have to trust the care provider that I'm with, or I won't be able to follow up. I could easily go to Yale New Haven Hospital, but I do not know them intimately, or trust them intimately as I would trust the people at Yale. There are many people at Yale, I gave cards to the other day because I wanted to thank them for being who they are and what they do every day. They help me continue my art, to paint, to do this. You know, I cannot see in my right eye, and I cannot see very well in my left eye. So when I'm reading uh, on the screen, I sound like, maybe I've never learned how to read, or I've never had no education, because my eyes cover the words up with a blind spot. So I sound a little bit weird because my mind is trying to make sense of the words and the letters, but my eyes keep covering them up with a blind spot. So I can only see out the peripheral of the blind spot that covers up these letters. So when I read, it's difficult for me. So for me to rectify my trouble with reading and my trouble with seeing certain things that I used to love doing, I just read even more. I go to stories, y- you know, websites with stories, and just read whatever, you know, read erotic works, or read things that just drive my imagination. I read instead of watching porn, or some things that just destroys my feeling of humanity, because even when I watch these things, I just feel more depressed, because I feel those are real people doing certain things with their life that just feels certain sometimes degrading. And maybe they feel empowered, but I feel like I have a unique love for women, and sometimes I feel ashamed of being a man because of the male models that I had in my life. That's why I put girls and women and dancers in my work, because to me, I have to document my life. I was surrounded by a lot of women, you know. Some abused me, and some were good in my life. Some taught me a lot, but some were just abusive because of the man in their life, the lack of love in their life. Or for some reason, they wanted to lash out. And I have a lot of anger in me as well, because I grew up seeing my mom being abused. You know, you, 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 you still have those thinkings, you have those nightmares, you have those dreams. And sometimes you just want to stay alone and not be in a relationship, because you don't want to do harm to anybody else, physically or emotionally. I don't want people to harm me, emotionally, and I don't want no screaming matches, no drama. So I stay alone, you know. But I love painting women. I love being inspired by women because I feel like they have so much that they give to this world that are uh, 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 underappreciated. When I was in Mecca and Medina, in Saudi Arabia, and when I went to India, I was bugging the brothers, the Muslim brothers, all throughout because this was an educational trip. This was a trip to learn more about your deen, your faith. But I was asking him always, where would my mother be if she got to paradise? What's paradise would be like for her? Because here's the deal: the faith had this deal where if you if you memorize the Quran, you could ask Allah on behalf of your parent to allow them into paradise. So my goal was to memorize the whole Quran in Arabic, a language I didn't even speak, to allow my mother entrance into paradise because she died without being a Muslim, you know. But that was the thinking, that was the hope, that was the dream, that was the desire in my heart, believing in that faith and believing in that deen and what the brothers were telling me. But throughout the journey, throughout the months that I spent, in India, Bangladesh, and going through, they called it, I forgot the name of it, but it was something that you did with a group of brothers, and you went and you visited other brothers and you invited them to masjid for a talk. People who may not have come may have stopped coming to the mosque. You invite them back. You try to help them get their faith back. So it was that I was doing in India, in Bangladesh, and I was gonna. Brothers were telling me to go to Pakistan, but I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go to Pakistan. I, it was 2 weeks in, and sickle cell was ravaging my body, and I was feeling sick mostly every day. From feeling, I had a cold. You know, all the viruses were getting to me, and all the bacteria was getting to me because that was a place I wasn't used to. Being in India, taking a train ride for 30 hours straight, from north at New Delhi to the south tropical areas, where the whole devastation of a tsunami happened. You visited the areas, and the brothers would talk about the Christian churches and how during Sunday prayer, all these people died in this church, and they're saying that's because they don't have Allah in their life. You know, when brothers say that kind of thing, it's just mean. It's just evil, and that just felt like ungodly. It just felt strange for a Muslim to say that. So I started losing my faith at that in that trip. During that trip, I started losing my faith. So when I talk about losing my faith, and I talk about my art, and I talk about the human being that I am, this Mr. Nobody, this person who's trying to get the world's attention about suffering, about pain, about loneliness, this person who's just being, an idiot, really. But this is what the world responds to when you are dying, when you are expressing something that's so different. But that's not marketable, you know. My pain is not marketable in many ways that it should, you know. If I die tomorrow, you know, this is how I will be remembered. These videos on YouTube. I don't think YouTube will go out of business anytime soon. So another 10 years, in another 10 years, who will see these videos? Who will understand this Haitian super flat in Japanese right here? What it means and what it represented to me. You know, only 297 views. Who will know? Do I, like myself? Like it myself? Do I share it? You know, on LinkedIn with the people that follow me and make promises that and say that, oh, like the director who said he he's sharing my work. He has my work at his home. He's the guy I donate my work to. He never sold them, but he says he has his work, my work, and I never asked for the work back because I did it out of a good place in my heart, to help him make a video, make a documentary about Haiti. So I still trust that my work could help him get to a place where he can make his dreams happen. But that's the part of it, you know. I share these silliness, and I'm hoping for people to care and come through. If you say you are going to become a patron and you're gonna donate $1, I take your word for it. You know, I take your word for it. If you say you're gonna become a patron for 25, I take your word for it. But if it's been 2 weeks and I didn't hear, I just feel sad because I thought somebody had my back, and I believed. So 22 views, you know, and this was many years ago that I posted this. This is out of work. You remember I was talking to you about the 1 hour I spent painting that. This is almost done. This is almost done because the next part of it is a kanji. Kanji is the Japanese word for the letters, the Chinese letters. Right here, I put a kanji for the word family because this painting evolved over time. This painting represents the family of Dr. Frampong because this man was so inspirational in my life. And Janet, the mother, you know, I could have stayed with them. Many times they invited me over to their house in Philadelphia, and I don't remember the name of the Guyanese dish, but it was peanuts with white rice, and it was great. It's like the first time I had a Ghanaian a meal from Ghana. I don't want to say Ghanaian because sometimes my mind messes up, and I don't really know how a country calls its natives or residents. So people in Ghana have tribes anyway, so they may not recognize with the country, but a tribe. They go by tribes that you know because you have to respect your ancestors. You have to respect where you come from. So I love this box that I created because I created this box out of cup of noodle soups that I survive on, because for many years in college and for many years in this art space, this is what I survived on. I survived on 2 cups of cup of noodle a day because I wanted to buy the art supplies. So instead of buying real food, I would support myself eating cup of noodle soups. Putting water in a cup and putting it in the microwave and getting my meal that way. I would eat 2 of them per day, and survive on a monthly basis doing that. That's before I got into on food stamps on welfare. Now I get some food stamps money and I can eat a little bit better. But I'm skinny as hell, and that's what I did for my art, and that's why I share with people what my work is about and why I have sickle cell awareness tagged onto it. Because this is me, man. This is real, and this is a real fight that I'm fighting for. And the people that I gave those works to are the people that mean the most to me in my life. And I'm glad that Dr. Frampong has this work. I wanted to say something about the work and the meaning of it, and the final piece that I put on the work. I don't have a picture of it, but where I put the kanji for family, because they are my family. I recognize Dr. Frampong as a father figure, and that Janet as a mother figure to me, because those folks, they had a son my age, you know, Kwame. They had a They had a son my age with sickle cell disease, and he got married, had a wife and children, and he passed. And you know, so the representation, the mother and the daughter, they're the dancers, and behind there is the father and the son. They're the drummers. You know, and as I did the work, that's what it represented to me. But to other people, it may have another meaning. But before I pass, before my life is done in this world, I want these works to mean something to someone. You know, and that Mr. Nobody means something to someone. A- And these paintings, they live forever. This is what it means to be an artist, a painter, is that your work is timeless. Because when you die, maybe this is the time that you become famous. This is the time that people recognize, oh, he really had something to say, and he created, not out of his skill or his talent, but because he felt something. Because he felt something, and something spoke, and he wanted to say something. Because my vision won't allow me to paint as beautiful as a person would be able to paint realistically anymore. You can see in my old work that I drew Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, Jr. very well, for art class. And all these women I can trace, and I can expose, and I can use Photoshop, or I can use something else to make the lines the way I want to, because my eyes won't allow me to get the details if I wanted to paint something realistically. So I go more abstract now. I play with it. But these are my works. This work was a tribute to Jean-Michel Basquiat. I didn't try to take his style, but I melted some of my style into what I felt he went for. But I was playing with the style, and my style more. you know because I don't want to be sued by that family, whoever's controlling his estate. It seems like they can sue you for certain things. I don't know why. But I have my own art style. It's called Haitian Super Flat. That's what I call it. So this painting is daughter, and it's from 2010, and I continue to have that. I'm thinking about painting over mother. This canvas right there, because it doesn't work as well as the other one. So this is the Mr. Nobody head that I did, you know, with the cup of noodle soup, hat, you know, and it's made out of a box from Amazon, because I order everything from Amazon, you know. So it's a message of consumerism, consumption, and being a Haitian person and saying you don't have no money, but yet you can consume things. you know, you can still purchase things. So yeah, like I said, I have first world problems. I want to be a painter. I'm starving, and I'm a starving painter. I'm a starving artist trying to make it. I want somebody to believe in me and not take advantage of me, not exploit me for what I have. I just want people to believe in my work, and help me create these works without having a gallery or art director or somebody, be the person to say, oh, they discovered this person. Because frankly, I've been here many years. I've been doing my work for so many years. I got video proof of how long I've been doing my work. So you can't say, you know, you discovered me, because this is from January 2012. So nobody can come out and say they discovered me. You know, they discovered this painter. So yeah, I know these videos run long, But try not to think about it if you are the only person viewing this video, if you are the only person who views it. I could get 6 views and I won't care because this is for the long term, you know? This is a part of my life, a documentary, a diary of a painter, you know? I'm just sharing with you that I am a real person. There's nothing special about me, but this is what I wanted to do with my life, you know? And this is what I wanted to share with the world. And this is what I want help with. So you can look at Patreon and you can see a lot of creative people, you know, and they're making maybe $2,000 a month from patrons helping them create their art. And that's what I'm asking patrons to help me do. At $2,000 a month, I can share a hell of a lot of new colorful dancers, paintings like this recreated again, you know, just painting dancers and families in my culture, in my style, and what I have, in my vision, and the limited eyesight that I do have, because yes, I am blind in one eye, like I said. So for people who keep wanting me to repeat it, or keep wanting me to say I have sickle cell, or keep wanting me to deal with those aspects of my life, yes, that's the truth. That's part of my life. But what I want help with is to be able not to cover up these paintings anymore. I have this canvas here right now, sitting against the wall. I could go cover it up with a new painting. I don't want to do that. It says Haitian dancers in Japanese, kanji, hiragana. Or is that, no, that's katakana. Katakana. Well, as you can see, I'm not well versed anymore because I've neglected my studies. I always take Japanese on one little bit at a time. I study it for a while, then I give up. Then I pick it back up and I give up. I think something in me doesn't want to speak it fluently because I just want it to be a mystery to me because it stays romantic, it stays fresh. The more mysterious those symbols are to me, and the more that it says that you are actually illiteracy. I'm using it in my art is because for the educated, for those people who think they learn English, they learn grammar, they understand it, they want to correct my grammar when I post something on NeoGaf or post something online. They want to say you didn't use proper grammar, this is not English, you speaking ebonics, or you speaking ghetto, or some bullshit like that. And they're saying that you need to use proper English, or you need to use proper proper grammar. You know, you don't know me. You know, why are you making that accusation that I am stupid, or I'm ignorant because I didn't use proper grammar or I didn't speak very well at the time? I have 3 languages or maybe 4 languages swimming around my head. I have Haitian Creole, I have French, I have English, you know, and I have a little Japanese that I picked up throughout my years of watching anime and reading manga and self study. But I'm not fluent in any of them. I don't claim to be fluent in Haitian Creole, nor do I claim to be in the Queen's English, you know. So I still find words as beautiful, no matter which language they are in. They speak to someone, and I love using them in my work. I love putting words. It's either in Japanese or in Creole or in other languages. I love using them on my work. When I presented this as a gift to Dr. Fompam and his family, I covered it up with words from his tribe, from Ghana. You know, that language. Where I use the words family for his painting. And for the other painting, I use the word blood and I use the other word water. But I can't speak the language, but I can look it up. I can discover it. I can find the meaning. One of the most beautiful things you can do for a person who may speak a different language than you do is to reach out and try to learn about their culture and try to understand one word of their speech. It means a lot to a person when you can do that. When you don't treat them like a foreigner or a foreign thing, but you can treasure who they are and where they come from and say you are part of the human family. We are all connected. We may be separated by borders and by language and by ideas and by religion and by our beliefs, but down to the DNA level, we have nearly identical codes that makes us human. You know, it's not totally identical unless you have a identical twin, but we are close enough that we are human. We are together. You know, so I may spend an hour on a video talking about my life and talking. That is because I'm hoping to inspire somebody who has a vision to help me create my work, to have a vision to help me do with my art what I want to do. So when I started this video, I was saying that, I have a history and I have all these videos on YouTube that may have only 60 something views, or that may not have even a like on them, that may not have been shared, you know. You just come here and you share it, and people get to know my work, people get to know my art, people get to understand what I'm trying to achieve, you know. You share it on Facebook if you have people, that love art, share it on Facebook. You just hit the share button and you share it. You don't have to become a patron of my work for you to share it, for you to come in and take a look, for you to say, "Hey, I support you," because I would like to see more people see my life and see my struggles, and view it for what it is. Not because I'm Haitian, not because I'm black, not just because I'm a human being and I'm trying, you know, and I'm trying to do what I need to do. And I know people get upset if I say not because I'm Haitian and not because I'm black. It is because I don't like to be exploited. I don't like saying an artist exploited because of their background or their history. You know, I tell you the truth. Sometimes I get really, really depressed. There used to be, because this is the way sometimes art is marketed. You have to have a story behind it, and you have to have a person behind it. And I don't like it. I don't like it because of that. I don't like the art world because of that. The way the art world is marketed, because of the exploitation of a story or the exploitation of a person. I'm giving you an example of my life. Like, I used to work with a great person in Stanford. She started a gallery of sorts or art thing. I forgot. It's called Picture That Limited, and it's a company who basically gets artists' works into the hands of companies and corporations and things. But as much as she supported me, the director, as much as she supported me, I felt depressed sometimes because she supported me with health related issues, with health related companies, like in a disability, a company who's related to disability. She would, submit my work to this thing, and it was like a magazine of people with disability, and my work would be in there. And that's what the story was. I was a person with disability, and this is my artwork. You know, it kept me depressed. I suffer from depression, so things that happen in my life get to me, and I'm not able to create when I am depressed. I create the nastiest work, some of the worst work, if I'm forced to create something for an idea that I don't believe in. So I don't want to represent disability, even though I do a lot of sickle cell advocacy and I talk about my own disability and my own lack of vision, my eyesight, or whatever. Being disabled is nothing to be ashamed of, but it is when you're connected with your artwork, your creations, and that poisons it, you know? That totally poisons the work. I do not want to turn my work into a flag waving, into saying this is black art, or this is Haitian art, or this is African art, you know? I don't wanna put it into a box and say that's what it is. I just want to make it a unique expression of who I am. That's why I want to mix it with Japanese. There was a person who really loved this painting right here, a Haitian guy who was on my Facebook and my thing. I won't say his name, but he follows me still, so he can hear me say this. He was so excited about this work. He said this work moved him to tears, or really moved him because he was watching, just like me, what was happening in Haiti during the you know 2010 earthquake, losing families, not knowing what's happening in Port-au-Prince. So I painted about that during that sad moment because I was feeling totally devastated. I have family back there. My dad, my father, who I don't know that very well. I only saw him for 1 week in 1986 when I visited Haiti just to meet him, and I met a brother. So I could have brothers, sisters from his side who are dying. I don't know because I don't have no connection. This is why I'm not close with my sister from my mom's side, because for me to be close to her would mean for me to reject a whole lot of family I do not know I have. I could have many brothers and sisters back in Haiti who died in that earthquake and I would not know it. So for me, I painted that. I painted like a father carrying, because it was inspired by one of the photos that I saw going viral, on social media. Is this father carrying this child, this little girl, his daughter maybe, out of the rubble, out of the dust, and they were covered, with grime and dust, and I just wanted to paint it in that style, in that way. No details. I could have made it detailed like the other work, but I just wanted to paint it this way. But I wanted to the way for me to stop hurting each time I looked at it was to put the kanji for daughter, the Japanese writing, the 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 kanji for that means daughter, because this is daughter. And putting the kanji there, I am saying that suffering, earthquakes, and people dying in earthquakes is universal. It happens elsewhere. Now remember, this was 2010 when I put the kanji on there. This was long before the major Japanese earthquake that happened. That was long before Japan had this other major earthquake that made national worldwide news with the Fukushima power plant, and all the the nuclear disaster type of thing that happened there too. But you can understand, he was all hyped and he wanted to buy this painting so much. I didn't want to sell it, but as soon as I put this thing, it was a little bit of a turn off for him, because it was no longer a Haitian story. To him it was no longer a Haitian story. As soon as I put the little kanji right there, it became something else. You know, at least that's what it felt to me by his communication, by the lack of communication, or by the communication I got after it. But that's what I want my work to represent. I don't want it to be just a Haitian ideal. I don't want it to just be a, a suffering point. Because if I just looked at this and it was completely Haitian, I would still be crying. And I would still be so totally depressed. I would want to destroy the work because it impacts me in such a deep level that I needed to say suffering, earthquakes, death is universal by putting the kanji there, by putting that there. And that's my creative process. That's what I think about. See, I don't really need somebody to come and interview me or somebody to come and make a documentary about my life or PBS showing me love and putting me on Art 21 or something. It would be great to have that kind of support, to have people care and say, this man's art is worth viewing or seeing, or people thinking you do some cool stuff. You get the recognition. But I can speak for myself. I can put these videos up and I can explain for myself what it means to me. It's not pretentious. It's not bullshit. It's really what it really means to me. Because yes, the industry is in a way, the art industry is in a way that people can make their own brands. Just like, you put together a boys band, like a NSYNC, or making the band, how you put, these boy bands together and create a hype, and little girls go crazy for these boy bands because you know how to market and create a situation where you hype up something. So art can be just that, like that. You can totally bullshit your way into the art world by creating a name for yourself and saying, I am this, and trying to get all sophisticated and all pretentious about your shit. You know, And that's not what it's about for me. There are some real deep down suffering and real deep down depression and some real deep down expression that these things are coming from. The reasons I put things together are usually just to escape the rage that I feel inside, the pain that I still feel inside, the nightmares that I still have of my mother, you know, you know, those type of things. And that's why I paint. I paint my pain, and I paint bright colors because I just want to come out of the darkness, you know. And I paint about certain things that are happening in the world that just feel unjust to happen, because I feel like if there's a God out there, up there in the sky, why do these things happen? So this is a worship type of thing for me. This is my prayer. This is my way of praying. This is my way of worshiping. This is my way of saying, hey, whoever out there controls the universe, I'm watching, and I'm seeing certain things, and I'm feeling certain things. I'm just trying to communicate. I'm trying to reach out, and I'm trying to understand that my suffering is just not black. It's not just Haitian. It's a universal thing that deep down to our DNA, deep down to our molecules, we're all made of star stuff, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist, famous guy, likes to say, because I admire him, because he puts these ideas into my head, and I'm awed by it. I'm blown away by it because it is the truth. We are all really, when you go ahead, I didn't just listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson and just like, you know, take his word for it. This is what it is about education. You don't have to take a person's word for it. All you have to do is go here and type in, you know, sun or stars. What are stars made of? He says that we are all made of star stuff. Star stuff. What are stars made of? You could search star stuff. It doesn't really matter what you search for. You come up with some science, how much, y- you could come up with a video. Like, this is SciShow Space. You click it, and you educate yourself. from, see, this is the lazy way of doing it. This is the lazy way of doing it. But people who are science educators take their time to put videos together like this. So you don't have to spend your life in college trying to learn what this is. So the idea of we are all made of star stuff means how a star works is the fact the way the sun works. The sun is a star, if you didn't know. So the sun is a star, and gravity is a thing. So for the sun to do its thing, what it's doing, it's burning up one one element at a time. So it may have it starts with hydrogen. It's doing this nuclear fusion type of reaction. It's complicated. It's not, no matter how many videos I watch, I will never be an astrophysicist, and I will never be eloquent enough to explain it to another person. But you have to understand this star is making one element at a time. It's burning one element at a time until it gets down to maybe lead, I think, because it goes down to metals. I mean, it burns down throughout the whole, you know element table. It burns these things. It burns these elements down. So while it burns these elements, it's spewing it out into the universe. So it is those elements that come together and build up molecules, and those molecules that come together and build up proteins in our DNA. And our DNA is the thing that builds up what we are, be it we are a plant or a monkey or a fish or a human being. So we are all connected because we are all made of these molecules and these elements. You know, so that's why I don't like separating myself so much. I know my skin is black. I understand that very well. And I'm very proud to be black, and I'm more proud for the fact that I was born in Haiti, because Haiti, you have to represent. You have to understand, without Haiti, the United States of America would not be as grand as it is today. Because the whole Louisiana Purchase, you have Haiti to thank for that. Because France owned that territory. If Napoleon's, if Napoleon didn't get his ass kicked in Haiti by a bunch of revolting slaves, he would still be able to hold on to power in this area of the world, where he would say, okay, we can handle it. But because Haiti became such a troublesome place, he had to let go of the Louisiana Purchase, because he lost Haiti. Haiti was the richest resource for him, for France at the time. It was making France rich, but to lose the whole, to cut out that whole thing in one go was devastating. So he had to sell the Louisiana territory to the United States to raise money for his wars and all his other ambitions. But when you know your history and you go back to it, which is easy to do, it just takes a little work. It just takes, not everything you can Google is factual. You have to be able to critically think about the stuff. You have to be able to understand when somebody's bullshitting you and when somebody's not, you know? But that's what I spend my time doing. I spend my time during the day when I'm not working, when I'm not posting videos, when I'm not talking to people about my work. That's what I spend my time doing, you know? I think talking to people, or just talking to the screen and talking to somebody who may be listening to this, is just as important as an 1 hour worth of me painting on a canvas. It's just as important to me, you know. So when I search my videos, this was a this was a show that I had thanks to Denise, who works with the AAAC. It's the American Affairs. Um, it's the African American Affairs Commission in Hartford, Connecticut, where they work with the state. And this lobby is where sometimes during Black History Month they get the walls, and they're able to invite an artist to show some of his work. And I was able to show at the state capitol, the legislative building, and I was able to show these works even before. Some of them I touched up later because I still didn't put the kanji for mother, for family. I mean, right there. And even this work, I totally edited it before I gave it to the SCDA. I put a whole bunch of Japanese writing down there to say suffering is universal. I wrote sickle cell disease in Japanese on the bottom of this work when I finished it. But as you can see, I'm having a show. I'm putting a show together at the space. Yet when the paintings get back home, they are in total danger of being edited or being painted over. That's the way I work. So I can't help it. That's who I am as a painter. That's who I am as an artist. My work are always in danger of being destroyed or painted over, you know? And that's why I hope Patreon, you know, I hope Patreon can help me stop destroying my work and just create new stuff. I really love this space, and I'm hoping that Denise, that's Denise right here. I'm gonna say hello, shout out to Denise because she really she really very supportive of my work. She really helped me 100% at the time when I put this work together. And that was the year it was February. Well, yeah, it was February 2011. That's when I had the show in Hartford, Connecticut. So y- that's those were one of my proud moments when I have shows when I'm able, for a week. You don't know how many people walk by these paintings. You don't know how they felt about these paintings or what they saw, but your pain and your expression was shown, you know, and that has great meaning for me. That has great meaning for me. And this was a live Periscope I did. I just put my iPhone and I taped it to my easel, and I just let it stream live for Periscope to watch for about 6 minutes. You know, this this was what I used all the GoFundMe money, the 14,000. Well, if I said 14,000, holy joke! I wish I had 14,000. The 1,000 $200. I ordered this big piece of foam. I wanted to order more, but the way they shipped it with such wood. It weighed a ton. I gave up because I wanted to order like 5 pieces of these. I just gave up because it just weighed a ton, and I'm by myself. And Hector, who is actually a nice brother from Mexico, who works in the building. He's like the supervisor. He is well, he's the maintenance dude. He works really hard, man. And that's why I don't like Donald Trump talking junk about Mexicans, because Hector is one of the representation of how hard Mexican Americans or people from Mexico work really hard, and they are proud of the work they do. And he helped me move it up to my apartment, because with my skinny ass, I'm just like I couldn't carry that with the big wooden pieces. I had to take it off the wood, but still, this thing by itself, it's still fragile and heavy, and easily to destroy because it's still foam core, you can break it. So I dinged it up a bit. So this work is still hanging here, and I'm still not done with it because I still do not I'm not quite sure where I want it to go, because this is one of those paintings where I didn't plan it. Sometimes I plan a composition, and sometimes I just go with my feelings, and I might be messed up because I didn't really plan, and I wish I planned a composition for this piece. And in the future, I may paint over it, or I may use the other side for something I have my mind set on. I don't know yet, but it will happen. I might end up, using the other side of this thing. So the little heart you see there is like, that's Periscope. That's how Periscope works. You can tap the screen when somebody's live, and you could like what they have to say. So I share all these things to show you where I've been and where I want to get to. You know, I share my sickle cell work. I share my video games. I share foolish, dancing. You know, I mean, I'm not as good as a dancer as I used to be, so I'm just doing the old man dance right now. Because it's like one of the rare moments where I'm happy, where I'm beating the depression that I'm feeling. Rare moments that I'm really, really happy, and I'm feeling joy in my heart, and I just like, I feel it. It's like so many videos I share. I share sadness, and I share this pathetic story. And if you can feel joy with music, and you can feel joy and happiness, why not share it? And this is the painting I told you before, as I showed you the video, how it how I edited the pharaoh, and I put these what you call these razor wires and the sickle cells, and normal cells. Then the DNA structure, and the chemical symbols and structure formula for valine, which is what glutamic acid in your DNA got replaced with. That's how you got sickle cell. And that's what I did. I just I just have my artwork. I just have my life. I like music. Sometimes I paint with music on. I like different types of music from different cultures. I like Caribbean music. I like salsa. I like reggae. I like rock. I like punk. I like all types of music. I like J-pop, which is Japanese. I like K-pop, which is Korean. I like a hell of a lot of range. I like, West. I like country music. You know, at certain times I have these feelings that I feel good. Other times I just play video games. I share video games. I share my time, my moments, and I don't talk about anything. This is me playing Minecraft, and what I'm building here is a model of the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center. I'm building it inside 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 Minecraft. So I'm just building the whole towers. When 9/11 happened, it impacted my life because those towers. When I first came from Haiti, a friend of my mom was a cab driver, so I was in the back of the yellow cab, and he was showing me around Manhattan. And the first place he wanted to go was to show me how tall these towers were. So I was awestruck for a kid that just came from Haiti, and the tallest building maybe was like three stories tall that I saw, you know, at the time in the 80s, and to see something that tall was magnificent to me. And throughout high school, when I moved to when I moved when I moved to Stanford after my mom died, in 1988 and 89. As soon as I got my car and I was in Stanford, in West Hill High School, anytime I felt super depressed, I would just get into my little red Honda CRX, drive to Manhattan, park park that car for the $20 a day, and just go to the observation deck and just sit there and meditate and just look out into the world and just feel small and understand that I am not special. There's a whole vast world out there of people suffering and feeling bad. And I'm looking at the wonder of humanity and how they create things and how they destroy things. That's all I was doing. So that place was a special, special place to my art, to my life. And when it came down, I just wanted to do it in Minecraft. I saw a video of somebody building buildings, and that building was one of them. And I was like, oh man, I could do that too. Let me try to spend my moment of just meditating if I'm feeling pain or am I feeling depressed, of just creating. And Minecraft video games is just one of the best ways you can be a creator. You can create things. You have your, this is my canvas right now. I'm creating work. So that's just me just taking hours, days out of a month. I never really finished completing it because I just got depressed and I got tired after it started looking like the towers. After I built the two towers, closely, I was gonna add floors, but then I found out, the floors, to make it to scale, Minecraft is just not tall enough. The amount of space you got, that's why I started blowing, using the dynamite to blow a hole into the world. Then I found a flat world where you can be so close to the bedrock of Minecraft. But still that wasn't tall enough to make the towers the height they wanted to be, that I wanted them to be. So I never really completed it, but it was just fun. I love architecture. I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be a lot of things. But architecture is still a love in my life. I just love tall buildings. I love towers. And I really like that in the Arabian in the Arab world, the like Dubai is such a special place. I wish I could just visit and just go and just hang out and just go to those towers because they have so many towers there, you know. But I just don't feel like I can travel freely anymore if I'm gonna come and claim that I no longer believe in certain things and stuff like that. I don't want to put my life in danger. I stay to a place where maybe I'm safe. You know, it's sad. I still get sad. I still get depressed, and that's why I express how I'm feeling. This helps a lot more than I sitting down with a psychiatrist and talking. I mean, I do have people I sit down and talk to for an hour, but I talk their ears off about so many other things. It doesn't feel good to always tell somebody your sad stories. Doesn't always feel good because that person is a human being and they have to take in that negative energy that you are spewing out. They're human. No matter how well trained that they are, I know that I am affecting a person. I'm I may not my eyes may not be so clear, but I may understand that I am affecting a person by what I'm sharing. And last time I was sharing something with the person I was talking to, and I was sharing some of my nightmares and some of the thinking that I had about the crash, how my mom died, and how I questioned whether or not she was committing suicide when a car crashed to the side, and if she was trying to take me and my sister with her. It is a hard thing to think about. It's a question that I always had in my heart that made me really, really sad. Did my mom give up? She had a huge fight with her husband that morning. my stepdad, and he didn't want to go school shopping with us. So he wasn't in the car. And I have to think about it, and I have to think. I didn't see, my mind was so much into school at the time. I remember what I was thinking, and I felt the guilt in retrospect of not looking out for my sister and not making sure that she had her seatbelt on. I wasn't thinking. I was freaking 13, but still there are parts of me that just can't forgive myself for certain things. Like my sister, I can't look at my sister. I can't hang with her. I can't, she still has the scars, and she's doing the best she can with her life, and that's that. But we're not connected. She can't remember. She can't remember. She was in a coma for 6 months. She can't remember. And I never grew up with her because her dad, not my dad, he didn't want to keep me. I have sickle cell, so I gotta go. I gotta go live with somebody else who would keep me. I had to move away. So thinking like that, thinking about my mother committing suicide, or committing suicide, trying to take us with her, is devastating sometimes to think about these kind of things, and to share it with somebody who's trying to help your mental health, and they are a human being, and they might be they are a mother, they have children, and they may understand what that feels like to be a mother, and what it feels like to give up, or maybe not. I don't know. It's just that you are talking to another human being, and you are sharing these things, and that's why I'm sharing YouTube. That's why I have anger, YouTube. That's why faith failed for me. And that's why I'm a painter, and that's why, you know, and the memories of my mom, ever since I was a kid, I only knew my mom for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. She left when I was a toddler, or even younger, to come to America and make a life for herself and send money back so they could take care of whoever had me, take care of a sick child. I was bounced into many different homes, many different things happened, many different religions, many different rules of behavior. So it is hard, as an adult, to reach your 40s, and you still have nightmares about when you were 13, and to still think about your mother, as a child, and to still have those doubts, and to still have those emotions, and to still feel the pain of those things. So I spent hours and hours rebuilding towers that were lost. There's a lot of things that happened that day. It That day did not make me pay more close attention to what Islam was, but that day also was my chance at parenthood. My girlfriend at the time visited that morning. The news was still going on the TV after I was done posting on Gaming Age at the time, because I was sharing, on that forum on Gaming Age at the time. There was a thread about the towers falling down. My girlfriend came in, and the relationship we had was highly sexual. It was a lot. It was really really sexual, a relationship. It was more than love. It was a lot of sex. I have to be honest. As an artist, sex is something I totally totally enjoy. But I can't even tell you the last time I had sex with a woman because I just became celibate. Because it takes too much out of me to share my body with somebody who's just gonna walk away from me. We made love that morning. Towers still falling, and news, deep sadness. A few weeks later, she found out she was pregnant. But she didn't have the reaction I was hoping she would have. It was more of a panic, more of a crying, more of a devastated. This is a girl that was also deeply depressed as I was, dealing with depression. This was a person who tried to commit suicide in college, and she was disturbed in many ways and hurt in many ways that I was. So, two broken people who are about to have a child come into the world, and the decision was ended up being going to Planned Parenthood and having an abortion. I actually walked into that place. I saw a movie, Baby Boy, with Therese, starring Therese, and some other where Therese would be this guy he portrayed was this guy would always get his girlfriend he was always getting his girlfriends pregnant, and then he would just be parked outside at a Planned Parenthood office while the girl went and had an abortion. And to see myself going through that, and it's real life, and it's stupid. I was hurting that day, man. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want it to go down that way. But I felt helpless. I felt weak. I never felt like a man. I never felt worse any time in my life because I remember the stories my mom used to tell me that my dad wanted her to have an abortion and she chose to have me. Sickle cell or not, she didn't even know I was going to have sickle cell, but she chose to have me. He wanted her to have an abortion, and that was it. They broke up, and he went on to the next woman in Haiti. She didn't want to have an abortion, and I'm here today. And I'm thinking 9/11, man. And I'm looking at 2016 right now. My child could have been 15. I could have a teenager if the choice was made to have that child. And I'm still alive. I'm not homeless. I'm not dead. I think if a person was willing to go through the hardships of even being on welfare, even being on disability, a love of a child, man, a love of a child to have to say, I have family, to give the education I never had to a child, to say, my son or my daughter, you know. So that day I felt like I lost a lot. I lost a lot. I lost a lot. I lost more than the towers. I lost a lot. So for me to go into Minecraft and build, maybe you see 868 people viewed, 8 likes, but they do not know the stories behind October 12, 2004, when I uploaded this when I hit the share button in my PS4, eh, you know, to share what I'm building, to share what I'm feeling, and why I'm even posting the video and what I'm thinking. That is the thing about art and creating. And what I wish in the world, there are sometimes I meet people And you can't even talk to them because they do not know how to communicate things that hurt. They can't get to the level I'm getting at. They can't communicate how they feeling. I can't talk to a person who can't communicate how they feeling, or share or say, you may call me emo, or troll me, or whatever. But I have real feelings, I have real emotions, I'm really human. And I want to exercise the right as a human being to say, I've been here. So when we vote and we make up our minds about politics, or whatever it is this year, do we vote with those emotions and those influences and the experiences that we had in our lives? You know, the moments that we just took a lonely walk by ourselves. You know, because all of this sharing, you know, is part of me. This is September 2nd, 2007. I believe every moment in your life has a meaning for it. So I may not be a movie star. I may not be able to get a documentary done about my life, or be on any TV show, reality show, or be a major name, or have a star next to my name, or something. But this is what's poisoning the world right now, is like that check mark, and social media itself. It kind of, there's a deep profound weirdness about it, the whole idea of getting a check mark and being verified. Because this is my life, right? But there are billions of people out there who do not get online, but they're living a life, however long or short it is, or how much wealth or lack of wealth they have in it, or how much fame or lack of fame they have in it, or how much talent or lack of talent they have. They are still human beings, they are still made of star stuff. They have a voice, they have a thing to say to this world, if they are willing to share it or they are inspired to do so. When I die, those rocks will still be where they are, endless. The sands, you cannot destroy them, they're here. You can turn them and shape them into something else, but you can never, ever destroy them. They can turn into limestone, they can turn into stone themselves, or you can break down those stones into sand, but you can never, ever, ever get rid of them. They don't die, they're here. So the sand that you are walking on is not as old as Christ. It's not, it's not 2,000 years old. You are walking on billions and billions of years of wear and tear, of tides and mountains, and places, human bone, animal bone. When you check the sands, what sand is made of under a microscope, you can see it's mostly silica. But it tells a story of a long, long journey to become one little piece of this whole thing you are walking on. Just one grain of sand. You can put all the beaches in the world together and you still do not have the amount of stars that there are in the universe, in the galaxies that there are out there. Yet the shadow of ourselves, we look at ourselves and we make God of ourselves. We have a pretentiousness that we are special. You can only know this world through your own eyes, to your own experience. and what do you say to this world? What do you share? So I can stand as a black man and I can be celebrated as a black man, or I can be celebrated as a Haitian person. You know what is trending right now is Chris Rock. You know, and the opening to the Oscars, and what he had to say. You know that maybe he shouldn't have said. Certain things about Jada Pickett Smith, and maybe he shouldn't have said things about lynching because it came out a little bit crude to make jokes about you know lynchings in the 60s. Back then, what black people had to worry about in the United States. I wasn't here. I wasn't even born yet in the 60s. But to walk down a beach and to take experience and just to tap the water, you know, this is Long Island Sound. This is part the tides comes in. This is the water. It may be dirty here, but you touch. Go to the beach if you are able to touch it. You know, put your feet in, make a wave. The profound thing is there is not a place that you can touch the sea, the water, the river that you touch. You are touching every single landmass in this world because this water touches every single thing in this world without borders. Humans like to name things. Humans like to put borders and names on things. We like to call a mountain this. We like to call Haiti that, and we call the other half Dominican Republic. But there is no freaking border, really, and not in nature. So we can call this the Atlantic Ocean, and we call this other one the Pacific Ocean, and we call this other one the Indian Ocean. But nature don't give a damn about that. It doesn't know the difference between the Atlantic and the Pacific. It doesn't know the difference between the Indian or the Red Sea. It doesn't care. It is just water. It's always gonna be here when we die. It's always gonna be here whether we pollute it or we don't, whether we take care of it or we go extinct because we are foul people. We don't take care of our environment. We don't care. So if you put your feet in that water, you are touching Haiti. You are touching, you know, Panama. You are touching Egypt. You are touching South Africa. You are touching Japan. You are touching China. You are touching India. You are touching every coast because this body of water touches all of them without borders, and it doesn't give a damn about the name that you give to it, the perspective that you have on it, the labels that you put on it. That is why we should respect nature for what it is, and to be able to look outside of nature and understand that when you take a walk, even if it's concrete under your feet, man did not make that damn thing. We processed it, but we did not make it. You can be against GMOs all you want, but it's just scientists playing with structure. They cannot make it. They are playing around with the structure and reorganizing it in a way that it becomes something new. It becomes healthier food. It helps feed the world before we starve ourselves to death. So, I cannot be against something I cannot uniquely understand down to the chemical levels. The stupidity of it is to be against something and not even understand why you were against it. And you spread the falsehoods, the non-science, the bogus bullshit, but you do not even understand it. It takes work to understand things. It takes a journey to learn. You have to have the experience of touching your toes to the sand, to have the ability to feel with your foot that this water is warm or it's cold, and that this sand is smushy, or you stepped on a slimy a thing that's dying there. You know, you have to have the ability to think. You have to be willing to think, and you have to be willing to tell the truth about what you observe in this world, not self-serving. Because sometimes we only talk about things that selves ourselves and selves our ideas. We do not like to tell the truth, because the truth is we may be wrong about a thing. See, that's why I like to say I'm sorry. I might be wrong, because in being wrong, I have learned something. I've learned I made an error, and I learned what the correct answer is, or what the correct thing is. There's nothing wrong with being wrong about something. People say science can never know everything. No, science can never know everything, because there will always be another why. It's the why game. Why is this? As soon as we answer one question, hundreds of other questions pop up. That's why I love science. It's endless. The math is endless. There will always be another formula to solve, another mystery to delve into. Just when scientists think they understand the universe and we get quantum physics, just when we think we understand it. So, quantum physics and all this world, and the duality of how a proton or electron can be in two places at the same damn time until you observe it is mind blowing. It's like time travel. The damn thing can be at the same place, you know, at different places at the damn same time. You cannot. That's troubling thinking. It's troubling to me that you can have an idea like that floating out there, that the universe can be so mysterious and so wonderful in so many ways. So, yeah, this is who I am. Hertz Nazir, painter. Probably spoke for more than an hour or two, but I think it was worth it. My alarm clock is gonna off at 7:55. It will tell me it's time for me to take two pills for my depression, and my life goes on. My life continues. My journey continues. If you took the time to hear this video, which is much longer than the other video that I posted yesterday about I am a verified slave to patience, wishing to be free. Sometimes you post these things, and you have 400 and some many people on your Facebook. They may not have seen it. They may not even understand what you are talking about, but it doesn't matter. And at some level in my heart, it may matter, it may hurt, or it may not. But it's the lack of apathy, it's the lack of sincerity in people's hearts, it's the lack of understanding, of seeing. It's that invisible aspect that people have towards other people that makes me a troll, that makes me cosplay as Mr. Nobody. That makes me go out there and just do these things because of her. Because she instilled those things in me. I fight because I remember who she was and who she wanted me to be. So the art world, I'm coming for you. I want to create some great artwork this year. After the video I posted yesterday, and just laying down, and I'm feeling like I'm blacking out, and I'm feeling these things, and I don't even know what the hell it is. Then you understand life is short, life is precious, and you have no control over how sick or how well you are in your health. None of the things I said in the past hour was meant to be educational or meant to convince you of anything. I just wanted to post one more thing. As you can see how many videos I posted last year or the many years, and I can go back 8 years on YouTube and show you me walking at Seaside Park on the beach by myself, thinking, or a few years ago, just using a tool, Minecraft, and trying to recreate the World Trade Center and what that meant to me. To see the horrors, and to also understand that that day I conceived a child, but choices have to be respected, and you have to live with those choices. There are many people out there who want to advocate taking away choices, the woman's right to choose. I know what it is to live with pain, and I know what it is to live with a disease in my body, and to understand that I don't have no control over how I'm feeling with sickle cell disease. I'll be damned if somebody is going to take away the right for a woman to choose whether or not to have a child. That's her body. That's her choice. You are a man. You do not understand what it takes to go into labor or what it takes to carry a child for 9 months. You deposited sperm. You deposited seed. No wonder we walk away from our children, and we do not take care of our families. I don't have a father figure. I never did. My mother decided to make a choice, and the woman I had in my life at the time, she was in school for nursing, and she had dreams. And even though we knew, both of us, we talked about the issue, and not to be so intimate, and not to have sex at such a pace that we were having because of her future. Still, during that day, that 9/11, emotions got the best of us, and we fucked up. But that doesn't make me not regret that that took place, and not regret that I cannot call myself a father right now. I regret it because my mother, with all the adversity in Haiti, with all the hardships in Haiti at the time in the 80s, she had her child. And this is the man who I am, who's representing her choice. I have to make the best out of my life possible. I have to have a sense of responsibility to be the best man, the best human being I can be in this world because of a choice she made. She made a choice. When my father said have an abortion, she made a choice. I did not really want that abortion. I was a coward. I jumped out of the her driving to the clinic. I just we were sitting. I remember we were sitting in a restaurant, and I just couldn't eat. I just couldn't go through with it. But even in the end, even when I jumped out of the car, she stopped the Escalade. It was a really nice car. It was one of those SUVs, really nice. Like your parents have that kind of money. Your dad and your mom has that kind of money, and you're worried about having a child with me. Even if this person would not allow me to visit that child, it would have been felt wonderful right now to know that I have a child out there that's probably 15 years old, 16 years old. So those are the things that keep me depressed and keep me a loser and keep me a failure and keep me from making it, because I dwell on the choices that human beings make. I dwell on the choices of all these men who decided 9/11 to fly into that tower for their ideas, for their religion, for their beliefs. I dwell on those ideas of people still doing evil today for their ideas, for their beliefs. I dwell on it. And I dwell on, what money does. You know, there's a lot of money going to a lot of things that you may see silly, while a person who feels that they have something to show or they have something in their heart may not have the ability, the same opportunities. Is life unfair? Yes, but it is life, and you have to deal with it. So whatever is trending right now and whatever Chris Rock says, you know, and whatever the Oscars were, and congratulations to Leonardo DiCaprio for finally getting a Oscar, because hey, I'm a movie lover. I love movies, and I've always watched movies with Leo in it, and I enjoyed them. And I think he's a great actor, and well deserving long time ago of an Oscar. Does that change anything in my day, in my life? No. Does what Chris Rock says do anything for my sickle cell? No. I have something to fight for that I think it's real. I didn't go for the Oscars so white thing because I didn't feel like it was necessary for us to protest. I didn't watch it because I don't have a TV, or I didn't really care about watching it because I was busy sharing patience yesterday. I was sharing it with the world. I don't know how many people viewed this video. I can look it up right now. I can see how many people viewed it, but it probably just be me sharing it and nobody else cared. You see, 13 views. You know, you pour your heart out and you try to tell the tell the world how you feel about certain things, and you get 13 views. One of those views could be somebody I do not know, and maybe it's somebody I do know. But if I reach one person who decided to watch the whole damn 39 minutes of it, and it was worth putting together, and it was worth it that this thing is gonna be there online after I die for many years, for many generations, as long as YouTube is still up there and there's still the internet, this video will be found. It's part of the cyberspace. It's part of the human experience. One person. So be careful what you put out into the world, because it's always gonna come back and represent who you are. I own my mistakes. I own the tragedies in my life. And I regret a lot of things that happened in my life. But You have to let other people have choices too that affects your life, you know, and that's okay. So yeah, I did get back into that car, and I did go to that Planned Parenthood, and I did go inside, and I saw a bunch of 13-year-old white kids, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know, it's an issue. And this is a political issue that's going on right now about abortions and about things, and they do not understand how men have a certain feelings about a loss too, just like women have feelings about a loss. Because after that whole thing was done, this girl wanted to throw her whole body outside my window, and I lived on the fourth floor. You know, she wanted to commit suicide after that. So deep down in her heart, she didn't really want to lose her child, but for some damn West Indian Jamaican ideal, she felt like she was going to disappoint her parents by not continuing her schooling or whatever. Whatever the reason was, she didn't want to have the child. Was we don't have that now. I may call her a whole bunch of names and I may curse her out or I may act a fool, but I have to respect that that person is a human being and that's their body and that's what the choice was. But it is also my responsibility to also respect myself and to know who I allow into my life and how much damage it can be, what how much damage can be done if I allow certain things into my life and certain people into my life that do not really love me in the way that I deserve to be loved or respected in the way that I deserve to be respected as a man or seen as a man. It is not my wealth or my bank account that makes me respectable man or moral man or a man worth having in your life or worth having a child with. So that's why I stayed alone and I stayed celibate. Not because I was, engaged to a Pentecostal virgin for 7 years. Not because of that. And it's because of the choices that I've made in the past about sex and how much I love sex and how much I love the connection of two people. But we have to also understand we can create a child when you connect. And we have to make choices. Do I want my child to have sickle cell disease? Do I want this pain to linger? Do I want to pass down my genes, my DNA? I regret it. I regret not having power enough to influence that choice. I regret not having the money enough to say, hey, I can take care of you. I got you. You know? Because when a woman just walks into a place where it's like you're just coming out of a halfway house, you were just homeless, and now you live in a nice little place, and she comes by, she's your girlfriend, and she's hooking you up, you know, with food, and she's helping you, and she's kissing you, and we're making love, and it's all good. But it's not a deep enough love that this person will not abandon you and walk away or make a choice that lingers in your mind. And I'm not putting her on blast, and I'm not going to try to hurt and bring back pain. I'm just being real because this is a person that follows me on Facebook, and when I posted, Dr. Endemariam, my doctor, because she thinks I should have a girlfriend. And while I was sitting in my hospital bed, I made a joke and I said, "Why don't you write me a prescription for a girlfriend? I think it'll be amusing that I can give it to somebody that will be my girlfriend." So I posted a picture. Uh, I took the cell phone image of the prescription that my doctor with her, sense of humor, she wrote out a prescription for a girlfriend because she thought, I was being a little bit whiny and a little bit, because I was being, I was feeling sorry for myself. And I was. Sometimes I do feel sorry for myself, and that's okay. I have to, because that's the only way I can release those energies. See, if I'm out here and I'm feeling sorry for myself and I'm feeling depressed for myself, world out there, you need to take it as a positive, because I am not out there trying to take a gun or trying to blow myself up and making people pay attention, because that's a negative way to react to your suffering. It's not that I don't believe these people had real issues and they really suffered. That's why they committed themselves to such evil. See, when you are not willing to be vulnerable, you can commit freaking heinous things. So that's why you can call me emo, you can call me weak, you can call me sad or pathetic, but I will always share these things as an artist. I will always share my emotions clearly, because I do have a deep understanding for the human spirit and the human mind, that if I do not release this poison that is eating me inside, I will act as stupid as these people who do evil deeds. It's easier to do those evil deeds than it is to do what I'm trying to do, which is share what pain is, why I paint, and why I put the word pain and painter. That's why I'm trying to raise money in the funds, you know. Now that's why I posted that video yesterday, and people may not understand the meaning behind it, but there's always the deep meaning behind one thing and another. I may not plan my art, but I do share my art. As you can see with the patience, I try to break down words. I love words. I love definitions of words. When you have suffering and you have anger and you have being upset, if you continue to suffer, the anger will always continue to build. And that's my sickle cell awareness for that day. I want a cure, but the patience. And I talked about slavery in the next video. I talked about being a slave. Because how can you walk away from watching a movie or reading a book like 12 Years a Slave, and you are still a Christian, and you can still sit at church, and you still can and have your gospel music, and you can still glorify Jesus, and you can still take on something that your masters, ancestors, your ancestors' masters had to pass on to them? Because that's not our religion. That's not what's in Africa. It may be in Africa today because of all of the missionaries being sent by white folks to convert people and to give them ideas about gay people that they never had. Africa is one of the most homophobic places you can find in this world, because they can kill gay people for being gay, because homophobia is not working so well in America. So all these pastors and ministers are sending so many hundreds of millions of dollars. They're spending a lot of dollars in African governments to make sure that they can win over there. So gay people, if you are gay or lesbian, you have to hide. You have to fight for your life. Women are being raped for being, homosexual, for being gay, for being lesbians. They are being raped repeatedly by men who believe that it's their God right, given right, to set these women straight. It's pathetic. And this is the world that I live in, and we don't speak about these things. We talk about the Oscars being unfair. We don't speak of these things. You don't need to go back to the 1960s for civil rights to know that slavery still happens in this day and age today. There's sex trafficking. There's slave trades happening today with little kids. You know, human trafficking going on in this world. And we could partake to it by each time we watch a pornography movie. I'm guilty. I sometimes have to have the desire. I feel lonely, and I'm by myself, and I've been, there's nothing wrong sometimes when you feel those things, but there's a sadness in it because your human spirit, your thinking, your understanding of what it adds to, where it's coming from, and who is suffering to entertain you, to pass your time, to give your urge a release. That's why I read books instead. That's why I read comic books instead, mangas, and Japanese animation, because when you're doing animation and when you're doing a drawing, when you're doing a writing, I feel less real human lives are involved in your ideas of lust or your ideas of desire, because desire is a very human thing. It's not a problem. You just need to know the right thing and how not to abuse other people while you're seeking that pleasure. There's nothing wrong with it. I could totally be into bondage and submission and all that. I would love to be somebody's, master, and have a little submit to me, or whatever it is, whatever that fantasy is. I could love it. You know, I would love to be a dominant. Love it. But you have to understand that there is a place you don't take your fantasies. That's where the human mind comes in. That's where thinking comes in. That's where our limits comes in. We have to have our limits. So we have to remember slavery as being a real thing in our human history, and that the word patience and the religion that we got our patience from, and the God that we keep posting on Facebook and telling others and inspiring others to wait on God and wait on Jesus because God is good and God is great and all that. Patience. The funny thing about this word, when I kept looking at it, I kept looking at it, I kept looking at it, and I saw the word tie and how it ties you up when you patience. It's a hold. It's a yielding because it's the acceptance. It is the tolerance of the delay. It is the trouble. It is the suffering. You are tied up into it. So watch that movie 12 Years a Slave. It deserves so many damn Oscars. It deserves so much more. Watch that movie 12 Years a Slave and walk away from it still a Christian and still believing and still understanding as a black person and still understanding, and tell me I should be waving a flag and I should say I'm black and I'm proud, because I'm not proud of a community that can watch a movie like 12 Years a Slave and tell white people to feel sorry for their fucking history, and they walk away from a story that is stark, that is real, that is true of our heritage, and you walk away a fucking Christian. You walk away still a gospel clapping Negro. How can you walk away and not feel anger? How can you walk away and not feel sadness? How can you walk away and still hold on to the Bible in the same light? We are Christians in our black community because we felt that is the only way we could be accepted. That is the only way that white people would accept us as not savages, but as civilized people. As civilized people have a God in their life. They have a moral compass in their life. They have values in their life. Civil rights. We are civilized people. So civil rights means we are civil people and we understand there are moralities in the Bible and God. So we believe in the God that they preach to us. We believe in that. So we are on their side, so they can no longer hold us as slaves because they are Christians and we are Christians. So they should treat us fairly. So we converted. We became a new person. So we are not so savage. So we are not so African, so beastly. We are not so close to the monkeys and the apes or the beasts that they see, the animals that they treat us as. But we are becoming more human because we hold on to the ideas that they believe in, the Bible. We believe in our Master's God. We believe in His Jesus. And we made it our own. We turned it into the Gospels, the singing in the cotton fields that helped people have patience to their suffering. Patience. The tying up, the lynching. That movie, man, is powerful. That book is powerful. When you read the original writings and you go back to how people used to write English in the back in the day. But 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 watching the movie, man, you watch how this man is living in the north and he's well spoken, and the language that he speaks, the English that he speaks is from that day, and it's so eloquent and so beautiful. It flows. It's like it's closer to the old style English. It's beautiful. You hear him, he's speaking, and it's, man, dude, I wish I could speak that way because, man, that shit is dope. That's what I felt when I was listening to that actor speak that language, the English. He's speaking it so proper. He's a proper black man dressed in his super suit. He's looking dope. He's a musician, and he's hanging out, and he got drunk one night, and suddenly he found himself tied up in a cell as a slave in Washington D.C. and being shipped south. And for 12 years, he's watching all these other Negroes around him who've been slaves all their lives. They do not understand. They talk about patience. They talk about do what the master tells you. So he learns from them how to have the patience and how to buy his time. You can see him slowly decay. You can see his humanity slowly beaten out of him, slowly decaying. You can see how he stood up in front of the master and all these other slaves, and when the master is preaching how a slave is supposed to behave towards the master using the book. And then the song, run nigga run, run, because this thing is coming to get ya, run. That song, I wrote it down. I was writing a book, and I wrote 200 and some odd pages of my rants and my anger, and I wrote down all these things from this movie and from this book, and I was like reviewing it step by step, breaking it down to understand what our history is. This is not the first slavery movie I've ever saw. I saw Mandingo back in the 80s, you know. And I saw Roots, Alex Haley's Roots with LeVar Burton, you know. Your name, changing his name is Toby, you know. I'm like giving somebody a different name, taking away their name, and giving them something else to demean them, taking away their identity, tying them up with patience. The ability, the capacity to accept and tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry, patience, or upset. Patience. So it is the same lack of patience that caused Black Lives Matter, that caused Oscar So White. So you cannot tell a person's cause is less than your cause because for for an actress, for an actor who is black and sees that there is an injustice, and the recognition that she's not getting, or that she's not invited to the table. Yo, Chris Rock, that was foul to go out her that way. There are serious problems we could be fighting for, yes, but still, it shows that a person recognized the word patience and waiting for something to happen is not right. You should always speak out where you feel there's a suffering, where there's a a lack of concern for certain things, the apathy that this world has. So yeah, I'm a person that could talk for 24 hours a day until somebody understands my art and understands what my words are, what they mean, and what it takes to create the works that I did, and what it takes to continue to do what I need to do. So yeah, I want to make it. I want to make it for all the simple reasons that my ex could laugh at me posting on Facebook the picture of a prescription from my doctor that says I need a girlfriend, or I need to get laid because I'm too strung out. So the same person, who walks away from you, who made a choice, and you are still thinking about that choice, and I'm sure she's still thinking about that choice, but to laugh that I don't have a girlfriend, to laugh that I'm alone, to laugh that I don't have money, to laugh that I fail at this art thing, to laugh. Yeah, I want to make it. And when I do, I want to use the ability that is given to me by the money and by the power to cure something that I know that others feel is being neglected, is being ignored. So my problem with the community that I am serving is that they are patient in their suffering, that they are still enslaved, they are tied up in the old religious thinking that we have adapted in order for us to become civilized and seen less than human. Because this is why we hold religion so dearly. We are fearful that white people will see black people as just African savages or as just beasts. There's a lot of racism in science in the past. How they used to think until the breakthroughs of DNA shows that, hey, our roots, the breadbasket, everything came from Africa. So patience, it ties up, it bonds you, it holds you back, it holds you from action. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have patience where it is necessary, because there is sometimes you need to have patience in your education, patience in in working towards understanding certain things, because patience helps you learn not to jump off the cliff before certain things. Patience, not to overreact. Patience. So there is a use for this word, but it should never be a use where it ties you up and holds you back from doing the right thing, which is ending suffering. You cannot tolerate evil to continue while you say you are godly. So that's why I feel like Uncle Tom. I feel like I turn my back against this community or whatever, because I keep saying I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to be looked at for my skin color. But It will always be. And I don't want to be looked at for being Haitian, but it will always be because it's a fact. So why do I need to waive a fact? It's always going to be a fact. Patience. Why I'm not a Christian anymore. Patience. Why I'm not a Muslim anymore. Because those things tie you up. They tie my mind into thinking a specific way because it's a teaching. It's teaching you to think in a specific way. It's teaching you to behave in a specific way. It's teaching you to treat other people in a specific way. Who taught us to hate gay people but that Christianity, but that book, the Bible? It says, nah, that's no good. But how come it did not teach us about incest? Because the same story where you talking about, you know, that Sodom and Gomorrah, that place got destroyed by God because of all the nastiness that happened out there. I mean, the guys came knocking on the man's door, and he said, "Come out here so we can have sex with you." And he's like, "No, I'll send out. That is wrong. Being gay is bad. I'll send out my daughters, and you can have your way with them." You know, that's paraphrasing the freaking Bible, folks. I'll send out my daughters so you can have your way with them because that is more godly than you doing it with me. So when they escaped, in the next verses, you see that they taking shelter in the caves, and the daughters got their father drunk, and they slept with him. And the next verse it says, and it was good, and having the children, it was blessed. There is such a mind fuck when you read these books, and Christians continue to gloss over it. They say, "Oh, we don't read it that way. We don't interpret it that way. It's just a story." It's only just a story until they have to use it for something that they feel is righteous, because they're gonna use another verse to keep you as a slave, to keep you keep picking cotton. So the same black community who's ultimately highly homophobic. I've been called gay all my life because I kept women away from me, or because I'm a painter, because they think it was. But that's not the case. But I've learned to let go of my homophobia, and have my best friends who are lesbians, and have my best friends who have different thinking or different nature than I am. People who I care about. That they should have their rights to marry. That they should have their rights to not be killed for who they are. You know? When you look at nature, there is so much of it in nature. It's just nature. It's a natural thing. We say it's unnatural. No, it's natural. If you look at a lot of other animals, there's a lot of homophobic animals out there. Not homophobic, but animals who have sex with the same sex. You know, it's it's none. It shouldn't be anything that's any of my business. Because if I say I'm heterosexual, I'm heterosexual. Nobody cares. It doesn't make a difference. But if I said I'm a homosexual, then it's a whole other story. Why does it have to be that way? So when I'm black, I'm being used. If this man is famous for being black artist, that's great. But if he's famous for being a homosexual, that's not too good. That's not great. You know, I've read stories about this man and his travels in Africa and his art, because he loves going to Africa, but there's certain countries he can't go into because of his homosexuality, or he would be put in jail. He speaks about certain things like that because he does travel and paint women and men from these areas in his paintings, and speaks about these countries who have laws against homosexuality. Even in comedies where you watch a comedian from South Africa, his name the Daily Show guy. His name is escaping me right now. I'm sorry, bro. But yeah, I really love him. And he was speaking about you can go to this country, but don't be gay. We need to learn how to have tolerance in something and being patient with some things. But we can be intolerant with some things, but we allow suffering. Suffering is fine. It is fine for us to be bigots and to cause another person to feel less than they should feel less worth less than they are. Really, we all have a worth. We all deserve to have a little check mark next to our names, to be verified as human beings. But the way things work, some of us pretend to be greater than we are. And that's why I'm a painter. I will share more throughout the coming weeks. I do have an interview coming up with a newspaper for a story about my art, and I'm hoping the Patreon will work out and that I can put a fund together to get cured and to have a cure out there. Not because I'm making it happen, but because I'm one more voice putting spotlight on the cure that is out there already. I'm not curing anyone, people. I'm just putting a spotlight on something that is there nobody gives a damn about. We give more money to our churches and we make these mega church bozos rich because we believe in what they are telling us. We hold them dear. We get inspired by their words. They speak so eloquently of God, an invisible thing that we cannot see, but they inspire us to still believe in it, to still keep us there. And they ask us for a handout to keep them preaching. They ask us for a jet so they can fly to Africa and teach people to hate gay people. Spread the word that homosexuality is bad. Spread the word that a woman is supposed to be subservient to a man. Spread the word. It's like yesterday, I didn't even know if I got the words down. Even in this video where I've been talking, I don't know if I articulated the fact that I felt in Islam when I started bugging these brothers. I don't know if I just skipped over it and I went to a new topic because that's how my mind works when I'm speaking in these videos. I wanted to recite and learn and memorize the Holy Quran for her. And I was asking these brothers, what do women get? What their rewards are? Because we keep focusing on what these brothers get when they go to paradise, but what do women get? What do your wife get? When I asked this brother who's a leader, who's leading us around in this trip, or in India, in in Saudi Arabia, in Bangladesh, when I'm asking these brothers have wives, they have children who are girls. When I'm asking them about these women, what do they get? Do they just come along for the ride? Or do they get their own world, their own earth that is 10 times the size of this earth, their own paradise? Do they get their own virgin males that helps them with their desires and their needs? What do they get as a female in Islam? How are they treated? So when your religion decides that a woman has less value than a man, it stops me. It stops me. And I am a man who is very happy being a man because I love women. And I am definitely not a submissive type of man either. I'm very, very, very strong-willed. I love to be the dominant one in my relationship. But I still believe women have their value and their rights equal to mine. There's a lot of women that would love to treat me less than their worth. But I always see us as equal partnerships. So I wanted to learn and learn the Holy Quran and memorize it. Throughout that trip, I memorized 14 of the minor surahs, which are the verses, and learning their meaning in English, but learning how to speak it properly in Arabic and the way that they are written. Islam is one of the hardest religions I've ever encountered because I had to definitely learn a new language just to pray, which fascinates me, but it's still amazing. It takes a lot of work to be a Muslim. So that's my rant for the day. Probably 2 hours old. But if you get anything out of this, go to Netflix or Amazon Prime and watch 12 Years a Slave and come out of it with your faith intact as a black person. Come out of that movie telling me that patience works for you.